Yeah, like Jonas just said, my name's Daniel. You probably recognize me from singing up here every other Sunday, but I'm not going to be singing today, I'm just going to be talking. So, to give some background about myself, I'm a fifth-year senior in Maroon family, and I grew up in a Christian household, with my dad being a pastor too. So I'm just curious, quick show of hands, is anyone else here a kid of a pastor? Oh, there's one. Okay, yeah. I'm sure your life is pretty rough, but just kidding. So yeah, basically that's all to say that I've been in this game for a while. So just to pick one lesson is, I got a whole library to choose from. And yeah, so one thing about Jesus is that he loves to teach. He's a rabbi after all, and some things he teaches me over and over again, because I love to forget. And yeah, by far the one lesson that he's taught me the most is that even when the going gets tough, when life keeps beating you down, he'll always be there to pick you back up. Why am I Christian? Why do I choose to live a different life with different values than all the peers around me? It's because we live in this broken world, one which I have to search for the goodness in it, a satisfaction which is only realized by Jesus. But in a broken world comes trials and tribulations. So often, I find myself in these trials, in these hardships, and I wouldn't say I outright curse out God, but I ask him some things like, why God? Or, why won't you grant me this one thing? It would be so easy for you. That's not to say that it's bad to ask God some why questions. It's actually very fruitful, as long as you go about it with the right heart posture. Back in the summer of 2020, my grandpa was diagnosed with cancer. He decided that it was his time and he did not want to suffer through the treatment, so he didn't. Knowing that, me and my family went to South Korea to visit, but as you know, 2020 is peak COVID. How could you forget? And when we arrived, we were forced to quarantine for 2 weeks. My grandpa died just a week after we got there. I was never super close to my grandpa, but during that whole week, I remember praying every day for God to give us just enough time for my dad to see him one last time while he was still alive. But alas, that never came to be. That's when I asked God, why couldn't you do that one thing at least? Fast forward to fall 2023, this time it was my mom's side grandpa. I'm here at Tech at this point, and it was very difficult for my whole family to go, so only my mom did. Luckily, she was able to see him when he was still alive, but he passed shortly after. All I was reminded of was that situation 3 years ago. The same questions popping into my head, but then I was sent some pictures. I see my whole family on my mom's side eating lunch together. That's when I realized it had probably been about 7 years since they had all been together. That's when I noticed even the faintest hint of good out of that horrible situation. I'm not saying all this just to give some sad sob story or a story that has a very happy ending either. I share this to show that sometimes life just straight up sucks. Sucky stuff happens all the time. God never says that it won't. Trust me. I know all too well what it's like to struggle to fall asleep at a reasonable time, struggle harder to get out of bed that morning of, have less of an appetite than usual, or have anxiety at a record-breaking level. It's seasons like this where I once again ask something like, God, if you're good, why must I hurt so much? If you love me, why am I not happy? Well, that's the hard part, so here's the encouraging part. God teaches us in James 1, verses 2 through 4. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. God promises that no matter how bad the hardship is, there's always some good in it. We just need to find it. But also remember, sometimes it is much, much harder to find than others. And sometimes you won't even find it right away. It takes time, but it's there, because he promises it. All that to say, I think, as a Christian, it's okay not to be okay, as cliche as that sounds. As Christians, we go through many seasons, good ones, bad ones, and very ugly ones. So I'll leave you with this. God is an amazing storyteller, and what amazing stories don't have some sort of conflict? Again, my name is Daniel, and this is my Snapshot.
Yeah.